Hello everyone, welcome back. I trust you're doing well. Today I want to answer a question that somebody asked me in one of the YouTube videos about how to defend yourself against the symbolism and subliminal messages and suggestions that we're exposed to on a daily basis. And think of it like this: when you train for anything, there's repetition involved. So whether you are training to be a dancer, if you just dance one time, if you're learning a new dance, you do it one time, you're probably not going to be very good at it. You have to practice. If you're training, weight training, if you go to the gym one time, that's not going to change your body much. It's a consistent effort. If you are learning a new language, you can't practice it one time and you're going to know it, unless you have a photographic memory, and that would be great. But anyway, so when it comes to, conditioning your mind, preparing your mind to deal with, subliminal suggestions and the symbolism that you face every day, it's the same thing. You just have to condition your mind, and you condition your mind by repetition. In fact, think about it. That's why those messages are pumped out repetitiously, to condition your mind to be, responsive to them, but in a negative way. And the fear that's pumped out every day keeps people in fear, because that's what they experience every day. If you're not doing anything to counteract that, then that's the programming or conditioning that's developing your psyche and your energetic reaction responses and your way of being. So when it comes to defending against subliminal suggestions and things like that, my suggestion is that you just expose yourself to as little that is possible. Ideally, if you're conditioning yourself to do or learn something, that's what you're going to expose yourself to. That's what you're going to do over and over. You're going to expose yourself to, high vibrational music, high vibrational people, high vibrational information. You're going to, read books and have conversations with people that enhance you and make you feel good and expand your consciousness and awareness. But not only that, but also raise your vibration. And obviously you don't need other people to do that, but there's nothing wrong with interacting with people. And obviously there are people that can bring your vibration down as there are people that can help raise your vibration. But when it comes to you defending yourself against the things that are constantly being generated and we're being exposed to on a daily basis, again, the first thing is just to minimize your exposure to those. So watching the news every day, or watching, movies and TV shows and things that basically are presenting negative energy is going to affect your energy. So your job is to, expose yourself to as much positive, reinforcing, high vibrational energy as you can. And like I said, that could be music, that could be conversation with other people. It can even be, everything is energy. So in the realm of healing, the ways that people use for healing are things like sound and light and aroma and touch. So, and of course words, and then how we think. So to defend yourself, you basically just minimize your exposure to negativity. And if that can't be done, then you need to counteract that by exposing yourself to, the things that can raise your vibration. Say, for example, you work in an environment where it's pretty negative. Well, then, when you get off of work, when you get home, your home should be set up in a way that is very peaceful and soothing and, doesn't present any stressful environment for you. And also, if you have a job like that, obviously it would be good to find a way to get out of that environment, because that's not healthy to be going to work every day in a stressful environment, which, by the way, is said that at least 80% of people have jobs that are very stressful. And they say that about 80% of adults are under constant low level of stress. And if you didn't know, stress is one of the top 3 causes of illness. So, but stress is just, a level of energy that's friction or resistance to your peaceful energy. So when you're feeling resistance, or you're feeling stress, or you're feeling negativity, or you're any of those emotions like anger or disappointment or impatience or sadness, which we're emotional beings, so we're gonna have our emotional range. But I mean, if that's the norm, if the norm for you is negative emotions, then there's some work to be done as far as putting yourself in an environment where you're not like feeling negative all the time. Some of the stuff is just basic common sense though. You know, if you don't feel good, then you gotta eliminate what's not making you feel good. And if you're being exposed to things that affect the way you think, which can be that can be a little bit more tricky, because subliminal means that it's not happening on a conscious level. It's going straight to your subconscious. So in most instances, people don't even know it's happening. But knowing how these people operate, the MO, as I always talk about, the modus operandi, is the same. You know, they're always trying to program, condition, suggest, influence people's thoughts, ideas, and actions. So, that's already happening. So most of the things that come from them are on some level doing that, even if you don't necessarily recognize it. But I will tell you this, once you do recognize their MO, the modus operandi, their way of operating, then you can see it. You can see it. And then you will get to a place when you don't even want to expose yourself to that type of energy. You won't want to watch those type of shows. You won't want to listen to that type of music. You won't want to talk to those types of people that are, spewing out that type of energy. And you won't even want to work in an environment like that, because it's so unhealthy and it just goes against, your natural state of peace, harmony, and balance. And so, again, the subliminal stuff it's initially can be a little tricky, because most people don't take the time to really, I would say, analyze how the mind works, just the mind in general, the mechanisms of how the mind works. But when it comes to training or conditioning, the mind works just like, the body. It works through repetitions. As I said a little bit earlier about, practicing dancing every day, or, if you're learning a new language, you got to study it every day. Or if you're trying to build your body, you're going to have to, exercise every day. If you're just trying to get healthier, you're going to have to do something every day. I mean, that's what training is. Training is not a one-shot deal. So when it comes to conditioning the mind and preparing the mind to be able to, I don't even want to say withstand that type of stuff, but being able to recognize it and, divert it, or not even expose yourself to it, or expose yourself to it as little as possible, or at least counteract the effects of it and recognize when it might be affecting you, because that's what our feelings are for. Our feelings tell us, about our energy. If we're not feeling good, that's a low vibrational energy for whatever reason. We're not feeling good, whatever type of not feeling good feeling it is, whether it's, like I said, it could be anger, it could be impatience, it could be frustration, it could be sadness, it could be, pain. Those are all kind of low vibrational energies. So, life is about feeling good, and, the goal is to, feel the good as much as you can. And so when things disrupt your feeling good, then it's time that you have to take some action to determine how you're going to remove that energy from your life. And, it might just be a way of thinking. Perception is 99% of reality, is how you perceive the situation. That's always been said. I mean, it's always been said that it's not what happens to you, but it's how you react. Or it's not what happens to you, but it's how you perceive the situation. Where one person can see something and it's no big deal to them, and another person see it and they lose their mind. Some people are very impatient, and so, when they get in the car, they're the person that's trying to get around the person that's very patient. The person that's very patient, they're not stressed out about driving, and then you're stuck behind them, and you're trying to get around them, but so you're stressed out and they're just going about their business. So what I'm saying is, like, some people, a situation like that where one person might be like very agitated, the other person doesn't faze them at all. And there's, all different aspects of life that have that same, dichotomy, where one aspect of it for one person is really disruptive, and for another person it doesn't faze them at all. But what one phases one person might not faze another person, and then what doesn't faze this person might faze that person. So everybody's an individual. That part is common sense as well. So again, it takes work, it takes practice. We all have some re-educating to do, because we all live in this on this, we all live on Earth, and you know, the conditioning has been strong and steady for, you know, at least a century and a half, 200 years or so. Probably longer than that, but the point is, it's coming at us all the time. But once you know that what's coming at you, then you know how to prepare for it. And then you just create the environment that serves you, that makes you feel good, that keeps your vibration up. All right, so it's really about just, you know, repetitiously exposing yourself to the things that can help you stay where you want to be. And then after a while, you can train yourself, you can condition yourself to be able to separate. I mentioned this in my book, that you're not your emotions. And I think it's important to be able to recognize, like, an emotional reaction, which is fine, because we're humans and we have emotions. So you can have an emotional reaction, but you can also recognize that your consciousness is not the emotion. So the consciousness can observe the reaction or the emotional response and allow it to be, because I mean, we are like layered or multifaceted beings. We're body, we're mind, we're spirit, you know, and all of those are different forms of energy. So, and one aspect of self is doing what it does, the emotional part of us that kind of lets us know, hey, this situation ain't cool or whatever, based on what you think, what you feel, or what you believe should be happening for you. Because if it was happening the way you wanted it to, then you wouldn't have that emotional reaction. But maybe it would be a happy or a joyous emotional reaction if it's what you want. But if it's not, then the emotional reaction is going to be a negative reaction. But the consciousness, the observer, is observing all of it, whether it's the good thing or the bad thing. And that's, you know, something we can do another video on later. But, you know, because this is the thing about just detaching from everything. But anyway, so you're not your emotions. And so when you get to the place where you can basically observe yourself, you know, reacting to situations and allow yourself to do that, you know, in a non-destructive way, then you're there. You're there. You know, it's when we basically take the emotion and we mesh the self with the emotion. And so we're assuming that we are emotions when we're really not. So when you can separate the two, then things are not so, let's say, then they can't affect you as much. They don't have the same effect. All right. So I hope that made sense. Share the knowledge. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.